This is a steal for the Houston Rockets as a new trade report has surfaced involving the Rockets acquiring LaMelo Ball from the Hornets. We talk about the trade details and if this trade, or any trade for that matter, is worth it to the Houston Rockets this offseason. Welcome into Rockets Digest. I'm Jace Andrews, and I appreciate you joining us. We are at 1,253 subscribers. We have a goal to get to 1,500 by Friday. It's a big challenge, but I believe in H-Town. I think you got my back. So hit that subscribe button because that means the more subscribers, the more the bosses allow us to put effort into these videos. So I appreciate you. Let's start talking about LaMelo Ball. He's such an interesting trade aspect this offseason because there are talks that he wants to play for a winning team. And Charlotte knows that the odds of him re-signing down the line are probably pretty slim. And the 23-year-old who wants to win now is a somewhat mentioned trade target. And the interesting thing about this trade is it's a draft day trade. It's a mock trade again on draft day. And I've talked about it so much. That number 10 pick the Rockets have acquired now from Phoenix, I don't think they should keep it. Now, whether they should trade that for another person, a player, or a draft pick down the line, that's where the questions start to kind of come into my head. And I'm kind of curious what you think about this. Do you want to trade that pick? Do you think we should keep the number 10 pick? I've seen a lot of mixed opinions in the comment section, so get down there and let me know what you think about this. But overall, I think they should trade it. Now, I'm not too set on if it should be a player or not, but I do like this trade, and that's where we'll go into the trade details here next. The Houston Rockets would receive LaMelo Ball, adding in Grant Williams, who played with the Celtics. Obviously, he's had some interesting history. The Hornets, though, would get in return Fred VanVleet, Jabari Smith Jr., the number 10 pick this year, the number 59 pick this year, a 2027 first-round pick that is via Phoenix, and the 2028 first-round pick that will be unprotected. So, in this case, that is a lot to give up for LaMelo Ball and Grant Williams. And obviously the big name in there is LaMelo. The big thing to me, though, that I am intrigued by this trade is Fred VanVleet is in it. And I want him to be a Rocket. I do. But you cannot keep that $44 million contract on your payroll next year. So you will have to restructure that contract and probably have him opt out this year. And then after that, discuss potential new long-term options that are a lot less money for VanVleet to stay in H-Town, but there is the risk of him walking. Now, I do think that risk is pretty slim. He has said multiple times he's liked what Ime Udoka's bet. He feels like this is where he's supposed to be, and he wants to stay with Houston. So when it inevitably has that player opt out, I believe he will make a deal and sign back with Houston. But there is always the possibility that he does not. And trading him away now limits that possibility. You do not have to worry about him going to a different team. You get something out of him. And so that's where it's kind of an interesting thing with Fred VanVleet. Let's go into Jed Katz, though, as he had the report and talked about what this trade would mean. We'll start kind of from the top here saying, quote, after snatching up the second seed in the Western Conference, the Rockets suffered a brutal first-round exit to the Golden State Warriors. Although it took 7 games, Houston's offense was ugly for most of the series, lacking an elite shot creator as well as a three-point shooter. And that's the big thing that I've talked about. And I know we've pushed a lot of trade rumors at you. But at the end of the day, I think that's what's going to make this team better. And there's such a split in the Rockets community right now of, is this team good enough to go on to win a championship? Is this team needing help this year, next year, the years on? Or can Jalen Green become that elite shooter that we know he is, but did not show it in the playoffs? We do, however, need a shot creator. Jalen Green, as much as I love him, his handles are not going to be as good as LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball is a shot creator. He can do a lot of things with his assist points. And I truly believe that, yes, you're giving away Fred VanVleet in this trade. You're giving away a leader. But LaMelo can come in here and be a kind of fire to this young core. And in my mind, I love Fred. I love the veteran presence. I think the veteran presence has passed its toll now. I think now these guys are ready. They need to have a winner there. Not to say Fred isn't, but I just don't think he's as good as a shot creator as LaMelo Ball. I continue on in this report from Jed Katz, and he says this, quote, thus, offense is the main priority this offseason. The Rockets have been linked to a few names, including Giannis and Kevin Durant, but one sneaky name to look out for is LaMelo Ball. And I like the way he says that, sneaky name, because LaMelo Ball has been talked about so much in the Hornets' future. And he is the guy to try and lead that team to a winning franchise. The problem is that's never going to happen. It's been this way for a long time. Charlotte is just not in the place financially, team wise, pick wise. They're just not going to win in the near future. And in that case scenario, the Rockets can help them out by giving them picks, by giving them Fred VanVleet. And in a lot of ways, the Rockets hold a lot of power over these teams because they have given you the blueprint as to how to fix your team. The Rockets were 500 a year ago and then won 52 games this year and was the number 2 seed in a loaded Western Conference. They have the blueprint. Fred VanVleet has the blueprint. Jabari Smith Jr. is a big part of that and can be a big part in different teams. Now, I love Jabari, but again, if you're trying to win now, sometimes you have to make tough decisions. That's just how the sports business works. And it kind of creates a little bit of a question for so many different aspects, and that one of them being, of course, with LaMelo Ball and with Trae Young and with Tyler Hero and Giannis and KD, and whether or not the Houston Rockets should make that trade. And that's kind of where we sit right now, where it's like, okay, how do we work this out? Well, the first thing I'm going to say is LaMelo Ball is a great player. He is. Averaging 25 points. His assists are over 7. Most of the time, he's getting a double-double with points and assists. And I said this in the beginning, and I'm going to say it again. Assists are so huge, I think, for this team because Alperen, Jalen Green, they can all catch and shoot so well. The problem is they haven't had an elite ball handler with them to come out and create shots and know how to pass the ball and be an elite passer. LaMelo Ball is just that, and he can come in here and he can do so many different things for this Rocket squad, and that's why I think this is honestly a very good trade. Yes, is it something to be a little bit risky because you don't know what you're going to get from LaMelo Ball in some aspects, and you're building a team and you give away that veteran presence of Fred VanVleet. What happens next year? Was this just a fluke? It wasn't, but there are going to be questions asked that way. This is where I want to get into why LaMelo Ball could be traded at all. It's talked about that he wants to be on a winning franchise. We know his father. He can do a lot of things. And so I go into this latest report here. There we are. LaMelo Ball wanting to be in a winning situation from Mike Scotto saying, quote, I touched on this with some of the other guys and some executives around the league are looking at it too. If you are willing to part with Mark Williams, who's 23 and pretty good, though he has some injury concerns, the next logical thing would to be also looking at LaMelo Ball. He's on a max contract. They're not winning, obviously, for the foreseeable future. For LaMelo, he wants to win. This is now going to be his 5th season. How much longer does he see himself there? That's what I've been told, and I'll say this, Matt, at the end of the day, I also think not being an all-star and not winning affected him. He had the numbers on paper, but Charlotte's record hurt his chances. From what I've been told, he wants to win competitively. And I'll tell you this, as they mentioned, if they're willing to part ways with some of their younger players, why not LaMelo Ball? He's already on that Supermax contract. You know you're going to have to keep paying him that money if he's going to stay in Charlotte. You'd argue to say that when the contract is up, he wants to leave anyway. I don't think you're going to be able to keep him corralled, I think is the best thing to put. He is not going to sit here and just say, yeah, we're not going to win. That's okay. I'm just going to have fun and play basketball. That's not LaMelo's mindset. This guy didn't go to college. He went across seas because he knew that he wanted to go play competitive basketball. And whether that decision was right or wrong, not getting money, that was kind of the main thing. But still, at the same time, he wants to win and he wants to do it now. Obviously, with his brothers, we know the injury history with Lonzo. Jello's now a rap artist all of a sudden. He wants to be the basketball guy, and he is the best player of the 3, and he is an elite ball handler. And I think that there's so much things to talk about with that. And so let's continue on here. This is a big thing, and I talked about it earlier. Judd Klatz, again from Rocket Sports Illustrated, saying, quote, you can afford to pick up Fred VanVleet's $40 million option for the Charlotte Hornets or move him elsewhere. Especially with the draft compensation the team is getting. Jabari Smith Jr. as a former high lottery pick with plenty of potential as a 6'11" inside-out wing. We know Jabari can play anywhere. This is exactly why the Hornets can easily make this work. It fits perfectly for their agenda and what they're trying to build there. You get a veteran presence. You try and kind of restructure and get things right. Because as much as I like LaMelo, he's not going to be the guy to be the leader on the team. But the Rockets don't need that anymore in my mind. I don't think that is necessary. It is as much as it was the past 2 years. And it's just an interesting thing to talk about when you look at this team and see so much of a positive outlook on both sides. Getting that ball handler for Houston, and for Charlotte, you're going to get a leader. You're going to get a young guy who can play in anywhere. And I love Jabari. I say that time and time again. I love him. But tough decisions are going to have to be made. And this could be one of them. I'm not saying I want it or not yet, but that's just kind of how I see. And we'll go into the last thing from Jed Klatt saying, quote, "The trade makes sense for both sides. Ball can't win in Charlotte, so the Hornets may be better off trading him for a haul of draft picks and young talent to build upon. The Rockets would immediately get better with a new dynamic duo of Ball and Alperen Şengün," end quote. And that's a big point. And that's so huge to, bring in LaMelo. And, we haven't talked about him much, but why not? We'll throw this in there, the little stat sheet for Mr. Grant Williams. I don't think he's anything to write home about, but at the same time, he can definitely be a interesting player. He played with the Celtics when they were on a championship caliber level team, in my opinion. He had 10 points per game this season, which honestly is pretty good. He's still just 26 years old. There's still a lot of improvement. And in my mind, Grant's kind of an enforcer in some ways. Like, he reminds me of a Draymond Green type of playing. Like, we talked about how Fred VanVleet was kind of, up in the face of Draymond, and I think Grant Williams would just bulldoze over Draymond Green. So there is some value to him as well, but that's where I come to my final question, and I really want to talk about this for my last little bit. Is a trade necessary? Is a trade something you would like to see? Let me know down in the comment section. Do you want a Trae Young? Do you want a Tyler Hero? Do you want a Giannis? Do you want a KD? Or are you fine with this team? Are you fine with trying to trade away that number 10 pick for more draft picks down the line and calling it good? I think that it's such an interesting topic to talk about, and that's why I keep talking about it, because we're not going to get to talk about it for long. Soon enough, a decision is going to be made, and it's going to be about, okay, how are the Rockets going to be better this year with the team they have, or how did the Rockets try and get better by making a trade? Right now, we get to speculate, and I think that's the best part about this is it's a community. We get to talk to y'all. We get to enjoy the Rockets and enjoy these rumors and just get to enjoy and see what happens. I'm not Rafael Stone. I would love to be him. I think I can make some great decisions, but I think he's also done a great job, and I'm excited to see what he has planned. The Rockets have already said, and there's been reports, that they are in the trade market. It has not said whether they are guaranteed to make a trade or they want to, but they are there. They are looking. They are shopping. So with that being said, the reports are out there. Things are happening. Things are flying, but is it worth it? That's the question I pose to you, and that's what I will leave you off with today. I appreciate y'all so much. Again, hit that subscribe button. We're going for 1,500 subscribers by Friday. I believe y'all can do it. The bosses, as soon as we get there, will allow us to get more content, more and more subscribers, more and more content coming from us. So I appreciate, again, all y'all watching, and we will see you next time here on Rockets Digest. Peace out, guys.